Hello, first two watchers. I want to start at 9 p.m. for me, 3 more minutes. But you can watch me, I don't know, set up or something. The frame rate is still dissatisfactory, so I don't know if at some point the game will kick me out again. I will quickly leave Firelink because it's the worst in here. Oh yes, a Simon. Hi, didn't expect you here. I guess Twitter did actually do something I didn't expect it, but of course I do have some people following me there I actually know. Good to hear from you. How are you doing? So, big open area, so generally dangerous. It seems to be rather stable, especially in comparison to filing. We'll see. Oh, that's too bad. Um, I have also been kind of tired the last few weeks, but it's gotten better because I got my life sorted out more and more. That just feels good. I wish you the best and also doing the same. Spirit Head. Yeah, I mean, Dark Souls 3, mixed bag in general. I personally think, though, it's still a very fun game. Yeah, looks okay so far. I think I checked everything last time. Like, is there something super interesting in here? Not really. Not really. Fine with the northern set right now. It fits that we're going to get an ice hammer later. Alright, let's just get started. So, hello everybody. Simon again. And today I'm going to basically test out, like all of this is testing, how I would approach my eventual plan, which might or might not come to fruition at all, of doing this here for Dark Souls 1 and looking at the areas and their design and the enemy placement and just generally thinking about how everything was just has so much care had in it, um, has had so much care put in it. Beautiful, shouldn't have had that beer before. And we are going to see how that goes. If I will probably get into rambling too much, and how I would try and combat this by just pointing out the most important stuff. And well, without further ado, let's get started. So, we have arrived from up there, and we're not going to see the castle again for quite a while. But for now, it basically shows us that, yeah, this is where we came from, but this is not what we actually have to do at the moment. We have to go here, and every other path is blocked, so there is only one way to go actually. What we can see from here, however, is a lot of the game world which we're going to visit later on. This here, for example, those burning fires, you actually only really can see them from here, at least I've never noticed them before in other areas. We'll see if we can see them later on. These are going to become important level design elements. We're going to explore the shit out of this one here. Of course, everything down there is one more immediate goal. We can basically see the entire level spread out, which we're going to tackle today, and it took a lot of time for today, so we're going to see how long this will actually take. And this one also looks like we're going to be able to reach it soon. With the bridge, the dragon on the other side leading back to the castle, which is not where we want to be. But maybe, just maybe, we will actually also visit this side of the level at some point in the future. For now, there is only one way to go for us. The obvious one is going down, of course, but as usual, if we do not take the obvious path, we can find some nooks and crannies to explore with some intriguing messages left by other players showing their platforming skills, but we're not going to try and look at them. It's probably only going to say, we did it, I did it. But what we're actually looking for is hidden items like this one. I mean, it depends entirely on your definition of hidden, but it is not on the obvious path, so that's good enough for me. What we could do apparently is jump down here. What we should not do is exactly that. But what we also can see ahead, and come to think of it, I never really noticed that, there is going to be an ambush by two dogs down there, which if you're coming from here, we wouldn't be able to see. But as we're looking down from here, we can. So this is actually a very deliberate break, supposed to make you look down to see if it's safe. It's not, but you can see something in the future. And these tiny little details which you might not think about and which many players might not even take, but well, I just did by taking my time and looking at things. And maybe even when you played this the first time, you also pondered jumping down there. Maybe you even jumped down there, died immediately, laughed about yourself, but you will still see these dogs probably attacking your corpse, and you've been warned. So it's not a coincidence, it's not a trap that they left this here for some dumb and blind idiot to fall down there. It has a purpose, a very clear purpose. And at some point they decided to break the wall right here, right there, make extra wall breaking textures for you to not be surprised by these dogs if you pay attention. And that is quite nice of them. Now again, we can take the obvious path downstairs to progress, or we can stay up here, which I believe will not actually give us anything except more vantage points and a clear view on someone letting the dogs out. By staying up here, we are completely safe and can watch the carnage as the dogs mutilate these poor fuckers who can't actually defend themselves. Yep, confirmed, there is no item here. This is just for looking at the dogs doing their dirty business. But what we also can do from up here is realize something. And that is, while the dogs are attacking these poor sorts, they're distracted. And that means in the future, if we ever should by some miracle die, if we come back here and the dogs will be released again, because if you die everything resets, you should know by now, even though I don't think I accidentally died in the first stream. I don't know, whatever. Usually you would die. Then you are probably going to have an easier time taking out the dogs while they're busy killing all these people here. So this is going to give you a hint for the next time you go through here. It might become easier due to foreknowledge of what is going to happen. First time, however, you're on your own, and that is okay. The game lets you discover these things, lets you make your own mistakes, and then learn from them either immediately without dying, or, well, one life later, nothing much lost. So, I know that the dogs are here, but you can actually hear them if you're paying attention, so it's not much of an ambush, you know, but I don't think it is meant to be like the hardest thing in the universe. And the dogs eating the corpse is basically just a tiny bit of world building through the enemies themselves. But also, due to seeing these dogs, due to deciding, well, this is closed, maybe I should walk here first, or maybe thinking this is the obvious path because there is so much level over there, you want to explore here. There is multiple things pulling you into this direction, basically. Even if you just want to know what's going on, and also if you are exploring in Dark Souls, in any Souls game, you definitely always want to take the least obvious path.
Undo my shackles.
Because those tend to be very, very dead ends and hold goodies. There is a goodie right here, which is, you know, it's funny. I don't know if this is supposed to be a comment on that these guys could have returned any time to whatever their home is, but you know. So anyway, we heard someone talk. Who? Well, this guy here was also moving.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, then it's true.
Oh yes, it is.
Champion of Ash as I live and breathe.
I guess.
To be in your presence is a great honor. I am Yol of Londo, a pilgrim, as you can see, only somehow I failed to die as was ordained. Well, perhaps my calling lies elsewhere.
Perhaps.
Say, Champion of Ash, how does the idea of taking me into your service strike you? I was once a sorcerer. Surely I can be of use.
Now this is of course a Dark Souls thing where you think this guy is from Londor, which suspiciously reminds me of New Londo from the first game, which fucking sucked and I hated it. So this might be a bad idea, but on the other hand, you should trigger every trap once just to see what it's about. When I first saw this guy on my blind playthrough of Dark Souls 3, many of these thoughts shot through my head, but then I realized that of course I'm going to accept his service just to see what happens, even
I
if it
am
is a
honored,
gigantic trap.
truly.
I need to know what kind.
I should be dead.
Yeah, anyway, whatever. Fuck off to Firelink.
Of Londor.
Which he does. Much like in the first few streams, I don't intend this to be a law through or anything, so you can expect me to still skip dialogue. Unless I deem it to be important for the decisions I explain making on camera. Like, I'm trying again to practice for what I will do for Dark Souls 1, for looking at things as they are presented and the information they give us and the enemies they're placed in certain ways and stuff like that. And a big part of that is also environmental clues and clues the game gives you directly through what it says, through its NPC dialogue, through its items descriptions. If that is important, I try to point it out. I'm not perfect, but you know, let's see if I don't skip too much. This is all a learning experience. So this is the guy who let out the dogs. If we take our time, we can see that he's got friends here, but maybe we want to do something about him first. Probably a good idea, you know. Also, probably a good idea to do something about these guys who are slowly coming. Now you have the decision, do I rush in and try to take out one before the other one notices me? Or do I let them come individually? And now you see this guy is more aggressive, so he comes first, so it was a good idea to wait, because now I can take him out individually. And in this case it helped taking my time. What also helps is that these guys are actually one of the weakest enemies in the game. They can be stumbled just by rolling, and you can roll a lot in Dark Souls. Now let's have some fun with him. Oh, you can't move with this, huh? But I can do this. Sky high. I mean, preparing for a Dark Souls 1 Let's Play in the sense that I had the idea to do one ever since I first played Dark Souls, more or less, because it would really lend itself well, but it's been done to death, and I'm trying to put a new spin on things, which is basically my old spin on things. It's just like over-analyzing everything to the point of boring the shit out of everybody, but again, we're just going to see. Back to your regularly scheduled program. It is tempting to go the direction of here, where these enemies came from, because now the coast is clear, and also there is a lamp lighting your way, which is something that is incredibly important in Souls games. Usually you do have lighting, you know, like there is sun shining through these clouds. Everything is pretty bright, especially for a Souls game. But then here, this doorway is shadowed, again very deliberately shadowed by this overhang here. But in the shadows is a lamp, so it tells you to go here, idiot. There is progress here. Don't miss this door. But also, because I know that progress is the devil, and you should always look into every nook and cranny first, I've also noticed this incredibly obvious door here, which perfectly frames the bonfire. Like, this is just like movie shot, and this is why I found the bonfire. It's not hard. They want you to find this, which is on the other hand a little bit weird, because as I just said, that this area here preps you perfectly for dealing with the dogs in a sensible manner by making them spawn staggeredly after this door opens, so you can go down here, wait for them to come out. They will be distracted by these guys, which are non-aggressive. You can take out the dogs. It's all a good tactic and stuff, and you know, I didn't get hit through it because I took the dogs one at a time and so on. I know what I'm doing. But then there is a bonfire right here, so it means you will never, ever, ever have to take this bonfire up there again. And if you die, you will respawn here, and this is now your base camp for the exploration of the rest of the level. And I shouldn't bitch too much, because I like there being a lot of bonfires. See, the dogs are attacking again, as I said. Um, I I don't like replaying vast swaths of levels where I've actually shown already that I can do it. On the other hand, if they are too much bonfires, then many of them become pointless, and you lose that sense of, holy fucking shit, finally I reached the bonfire. I've been walking around here with 20,000 souls for half an hour, and all my Estus is gone. And my Estus is back now, and I can just continue on, and you lose that feeling of dread a bit. It's an early game area, but it's not the first time it happens, and it's worth pointing out. Also, there is nothing here. I don't know why. There should be something here, shouldn't there? So let's kill these guys again. Of course, you always have the downside of if you rest at a bonfire, then the enemies will respawn, but it's not a big deal in these in this situation, if you catch my drift. Yeah, fuck off. Something I did just now, which is a great quality of life improvement in Dark Souls 2, is I really like doing jumping attacks, which this was supposed to be one, but it's still not perfect for me with all of my playing Dark Souls, because you have to flick the stick and push the R2 at the right timing. It's really stupid input, and I don't know why they never bothered trying to think of some different way to do it. Until, you know, in Dark Souls 3, it's like you push R2 while running and you do an automatic jump attack, and it's great. I love it. This jump attacks got me through Dark Souls 1, like, on their own. So, anyway, what you really want to do if exploring a new area after you've noticed that creepy tree face guy is put up your shield before you go through a door, then quickly whip around the camera to see if people are attacking you. It's just good practice. It's the safest thing to do, and you really, really want to do it because you never know what's lurking in the darkness. Now this item is very enticing on a corpse that's hanging down, which is creepy, you know. And for once nothing happens. The small leather shield, I don't know, in Dark Souls 1 it was hyper garbage. I've never really played around with in Dark Souls 3 because why would I? Here, these things hide something, very obviously. Which is just a ladder up here, which seems like we could reach it from the other side easily, but this way we can sneak up on this guy. I mean, that's not much of a sneak because he noticed us. I don't know why he isn't doing anything. It was very worthwhile doing so anyway. See, this is something I've always done this. I've always done this, but usually when I say I want to make a let's play from a newbie's perspective where I want to trigger all of these traps, I would have to take the stairs first and get ambushed by this guy. This is something I endeavored to do in Dark Souls 1, where I would be like, I'm going to act like a clueless idiot, get ambushed by that guy, still kill him, hopefully, because I'm somewhat good at Souls games, and then show how I could have avoided that ambush by being smart about it. But anyway, this is basically, they're showing you that there is something here, or at least they demand you figure it out, that you can destroy this rubble, and then you're safe and can go here with impunity, as long as you can manage the environment at the very least. You can collect your bounty. So this is the more obvious path going on outside here. So apparently we want to take the balcony first. I mean, many of these things are not as obvious as they say they are, because I mean, I know what this level looks like, but usually it's kind of a safe bet to just take a quick look. Does it look like this continuous door? Okay, so maybe we'll take a quick look here. Does this continue around the corner? I could fall down here, immediately see this. There is also an item. Let's see. This is probably a safe bet to explore first. Again, if you're exploring this the first time, You really should have known by now. Hold your shield out. Be careful, be slow, and then this guy here will not surprise you. If I rushed, he would have surprised me. So it was good that I held my shield out, wasn't it? Obviously nothing here. Nothing here. Can take the item. I'm not going to comment on every single item once we see it the first time or anything. Again, this is not super comprehensive. It's not intended to be. In Dark Souls 1 it might be. We will just have to see. Oops. So this is the same principle as the other item above. Hit it, falls down, but now of course you will have to go down there yourself. You could jump, but it seems like kind of a bad idea. I mean, I don't know, just a gut feeling here. What you can see, however, is that these barrels should remind you of something, that they're exploding barrels, like you have seen before in Lothric Castle, and maybe it's an interesting idea to do something about these exploding boys. Should we try it? Oh yes, we should try it. And I mean, this would actually clear the way for the corpse. You can drop down now and it's completely safe and you can get the item, which is enticing to some players maybe, but I do know that there is stairs in there and I'm not super OCD. I know this corpse is going to wait for me, so I'm just going to get it the safe way. And also, of course, I want to explore everything, so I want to know what's inside this house. Surely there must be goodies in here. But large rooms are suspicious. Items enticing me are suspicious. Do I see movement? What I do in this kind of situations, ignore that guy, I saw it of course, is click the right stick for just a tiny bit to see if I can focus the camera on an enemy. Because if I'm not sure if it's an enemy, if it's just moving weirdly or something, then I always click the stick. See? The camera lock on, it told me that this is definitely 100% an enemy. Just one of my personal tricks. So obviously this guy is also an enemy. And I can jump attack him. This is better anyway. Goodbye. So now it should be safe to get the item. Did you hear this? There was a sound just now. Sound of this guy dropping down. I don't know why they are so weirdly non-aggressive. Usually he should have jumped me by now. But I guess he decided that today is non-jumping day. Ah, now he jumps. Now he jumps. These are skittery little fuckers and they can be really hard to deal with. Not today. For exactly that reason. They jump around and your weapon just might be too slow. And he might interrupt you with your hits. It's another enemy where greatswords are decidedly not a good weapon class in my opinion. But anyway, he was supposed to ambush me. Of course I could see him up there. But he didn't. It's kind of a shame. I think some of these things could be designed a little more tightly. Also, I have no real chance of getting him down there unless I deliberately trigger this trap. So, I mean, I could have maybe shot him with something. I don't know. Usually I like it when you can sneak up on enemies directly with your melee weapons. And arrows are just to take them out early, not to take them out at all. But in this case you just had to get him down in some way. It's not a big deal, it's just something I'm noticing right now. So, as I said, if we were to drop down from here, we should be perfectly safe. These guys are all looking in a different direction, as you can see. And we can get Loretta's bone. This does remind us of something, doesn't it? Should be a key item? No, it's not a key item. Interesting. It's here. Her name was Loretta. Just to drive it home, this is what we're supposed to look for. A woman named Loretta. And for Grey Rat. Well, and she is 100% dead and inside here, so we have to bring him this bone and be the bearer of bad news, apparently. It's not spelled out. It's okay. I mean, apparently nothing good can ever happen to people in Dark Souls, so this was kind of an expected outcome, probably. So it has never, like, resonated deeply emotionally with me, and we've known Grey Rat for all of 5 minutes, so I don't quite get it. Anyway, these guys are still very absorbed in thought, and there are still exploding barrels, so let's try some free aiming here. Beautiful! You know that if you hold down, you get this red effect and you get to the first item in your inventory. Crazy, isn't it? Now it's time to smash a bit. If you get too close, then of course people will notice you. Wow, that was some awful comboing. Anyway, time for a really fucking hard enemy. Did you see the reach on this? I didn't expect her to reach me so quickly. So this is not to show something off or anything, I just genuinely got hit by accident. Cleanse the bastard's curse. Oh yeah, but fat ass can still be easily backstabbed. Isn't this nice? It's also nice of this guy to wait for me to deal with the heavy enemy. This is somewhat of a common theme in Dark Souls games, where you have this one big enemy which you just kind of have to deal with, and usually, especially the first time you encounter a big enemy, the other ones, they will leave you alone. It's not that big of a deal. When I first came to this area, I was incredibly frightened by all of these enemies here. Oh, I was waiting for this. It's probably the particle effects of the fire. I'm sorry that this always happens. I haven't found a good solution. All of the settings in Dark Souls 3 are at their lowest, and it will probably just be an issue with the game itself as long as I'm streaming. And it hopefully will not be an issue with Dark Souls 1, just for the simple case that Dark Souls 1 doesn't have this kind of sanity check, because it doesn't care about its online that much. But for Dark Souls 3, I think I will just have to deal with it. Unless I upgrade my computer halfway through. And yeah, I strongly blame the fire. So what I was saying is that usually these big enemies, you kind of can take them on your own most of the time, and everything else would be unfair. But I don't know that, of course, the first time I come here. So I was really careful. I did think I found the trick with the exploding barrels, though I didn't waste firebombs like a fucking idiot, and still pulled them out one by one using throwing knives as you do, like this. Hey, come here, leave your buddies alone, very slowly. Always thinking like, oh, I'm wasting my resources, what if I die here, and then I will have less throwing knives, then I can't do that again. But basically the trick about this is just a mindset thing. If you first of all you use your throwing knives and pull them one by one, find out that actually the big enemy isn't all that hard, then that's great. The next time you just don't have to bother with the throwing knives and just kill the small ones quickly and then take out the big one. If you do find out that it's pretty hard, then you just have died, it's fine. The first time dying is usually easy. Basically, I mean, the first time dying is usually the hardest because you got just tricked or overwhelmed by this unknown situation for you. And that sucks, that feels bad. The second time I find is always like, yeah, okay, this is a hard segment, I know, but it's no longer such a surprising gut punch that you failed to it. And the Evangelist, we would know this if she had dropped any part of her armor set. She's genuinely really hard to deal with. She's a very hard enemy. Don't let my competence fool you. I've died to Evangelists a lot of times, and I expect to die 1 or 2 times more at the very least in the course of this Let's Play. But I'm also not super sure if this is the ideal setting to introduce her. Lore-wise, it makes sense. She's helping these people pray, basically, on this corpse tree, which is part of the setting. Of course, it makes perfect sense, as I said. But I would have preferred to fight her in a vacuum first, because I always felt compelled to take out every single one of these guys here before I fought her, and that was just a little tedious. I mean, by now I know that they don't aggro at the same time, but it took me quite a while. One other thing I should mention is that I've completely ignored this bridge, and I've always ignored this bridge. The first time I came through here, I didn't even realize that I've always just passed by this bridge here. There are enemies coming right now. If you come here, then these enemies will come and show you that, hey, you might want to explore down here. There is a lamp here, which is also guiding your vision down this path. Again, like I said before, just something they use. um, but it wasn't effective. I just didn't come here. I was enticed by everything going on here. Tried it 2-3 times after the evangelist killed me every time, so I was razor focused on this part, just didn't notice the bridge. One other feature we have here is now that this guy in the back used to be super placid, didn't do anything, but now he's actually throwing something at us. So if I wasn't such a gigantic pussy and walked backwards here, I would have been forced to deal with him throwing stuff while the melee guy comes at me swinging. And this is just something that at some point you will absolutely have to learn in any Souls game very quickly. Take out the melee guy first and then the ranged guy, or run around the melee guy dodging and then take out the ranged guy and then turn around quickly and deal with the melee guy. It's up to you how you deal with it, but you do have to deal with it. Anyway, as we're going to think about this like a new player, I'm going to ignore the bridge for now, but we will come back later, rest assured. In general, this area suffers a little bit from my personal choice paralysis, where I was like, but I could go here, or here, or here, but if I jump down here and it's a one-way path, but maybe it's the hidden path and we'll loop back around and it's terrible. Also, hey, there is always one more than I think. The stumbling actually kind of sometimes annoys me a little bit with these enemies, because I want to get behind them and backstab them or something, and they don't finish their attack animation, they just stumble. So they're not locked into a, for them, bad situation. Sometimes they hit me because of that. That's a little annoying, but not too big of a deal. So, many choices. As I said, many choices. We have at least 4 places we can go right now, and I really don't know which one of them is the best. It's fine for exploration. For me personally, I always suffer because I don't know where I should go first, and I didn't plan this out perfectly, so we're just gonna go. We're just gonna go. This house is safe, I know that, but usually, you know. Shield out, new door, check behind, slowly walk. Destroyable objects, maybe something is hidden by the destroyable objects. We have a source of light here, always enticing. We have a source of light here, always enticing. We have a bunch of bodies here, not enticing at all. We have an item here. And I used the lock-on again to see that there is actually an enemy here. Don't frighten me like this. Which a more inexperienced player might not know as a technique, or might not be as paranoid about as I am. So let's just take that and see what happens. Oh my god! What a fright! What a jump scare! Goodbye, frightening jump scare. I would classify it as a jump scare more or less, but it's not too big of a deal. I think it could be handled a little more cleverly, but there are some instances in Dark Souls 1 where it's just Dark Souls 3 where it's just like, yeah, it feels a little bit cheap, doesn't it? Anyway, I've noticed this hole, but you never jump down holes if you can avoid it, do you? When we come here, we have more of these corpse things here. And then we can just use the camera to do what our character wouldn't be able to do, look around the corner here. So, again, there is focus. And here it looks like a dead end, so we explore it first. Always fun to do this, but there is actually nothing here, but there is a window. You can see that there is actually a room behind it. There is another window, and you can see there is something inside. And then there is a door, which does not open from this side. So what tells us that we actually do have to just spatially fall down this hole. And another thing which we noticed, from here you can't really see it well, but if you do come back, you do see that there is an item in this one corpse up here. Let's see if, no, the R2 is not an overhand swing. Exactly the wrong ones. There we go. What do we have inside? Just another soul, but this is how things are sometimes hidden, and I appreciate that. I like that. Dark Souls 3 does some clever hiding things. Unlike the other Dark Souls games, it still comes up with some new ideas, and it's commendable in a series as advanced as this one here. After all, there is still Demon Souls and Bloodborne to consider too. What do we have here? The Warrior of Sunlight Covenant, which is actually pretty damn fucking nice as a reward to find here. And we have Estus Soup. Thematically fitting. This is a cozy room. This is a good room. There are good things in here. There are co-op related things in here. You can heal up here, of course. When I was falling down here, I was immediately drinking Estus, and then I felt like an idiot. but such is just the way of things. And I don't know, Estus Soup is twice in this game and it just fills you up. But that's it once. It just gives you a full heal. I don't really get it, but it's generally, it's just meant as a lore thing. Like, this is a good room, this is a safe room, this is a cool room, there are good things in here. And later on it's associated with a helpful character which cooks the soup for you. Ah yeah, twice more, both times with that character. So that's also nice. Again, we see that there is these enemies here, and one thing which I haven't shown off before because it worked out rather well, if you approach them a little bit too much, then they will hit you. And if you're using a weapon that is just a little bit shorter than this, you're gonna have a bad time. Noticed movement, so I'm taking my time again. Hi, Enrel. Pleased to meet you. Are you the single viewer? That is still fine. Hope you enjoy what I'm putting down. Trying to parry him, but I'm bad at it. Ah, finally. Ah, this is a meaty sound. This is what I like to hear. This guy can be a bit of a pain, but I'm wearing surprisingly sturdy armor. Ah, same! Right, right. I think I've seen your YouTube handle before when I watched a Let's Play of yours, so I shouldn't have been as surprised as I was. You can sneak up on this guy, which is a good thing to do unless the animation fucks up. Thank you, Dark Souls 3. But then, we have another nasty, nasty surprise. These boys are always good for surprises. Yeah, I didn't really parry at all in Dark Souls 1. Oh my god! Best drop in the game right here. Isn't there a second one? Thought there was a second one. Anyway, I'm going to go out of my way to show you something now. I mean, maybe you know it, maybe you don't. But one of these paths which we could have taken instead of going down here is to the right of this house. And down here. Down here we would have been able to see one of these thralls standing next to this hole, about to fall in. It's this guy who we just killed. So if we had taken this route here first, we could have avoided that ambush, but we would have fallen amongst another thrall and that hook dude, who by the way is the only source of a certain rare drop weapon, which is something I fucking hate. Anyway, but if we are smart, then we just kill the thrall up here and don't follow him down and then go back around and have one less ambush to care about. And that's the only thing that does. There is not even an item here. It's just like, if you go here first, then you get rewarded for taking out a single ambush. Congratulations, you're a smart boy. I'm not super sure if I like that, to be quite honest, because feels a little empty. Like, it's very binary. Even if you come here and you see this guy fall down, maybe the next time you play the game you do realize that this does actually lead up here and stuff, but it seems like so much hassle for a single thrall. There is going to be, later on there's ambushes with 2 or even 3 of these at the same time, and then I kind of get it, and maybe this is preparing you for it. But it's not the best thing right now, I think. Like, it's not super clever and doesn't make me feel super good about myself for figuring that out. Wow, 5 fading souls. Now it's like, there's 5 dudes in there, maybe, so this is thematically incredibly appropriate. I like it. There are these small details, these environmental storytelling. I mean, people have harped on that. By the way, this is what he drops as a rare drop, the harp. People have harped on that for quite a while, that Dark Souls is the king of environmental storytelling and all such things, and it's true. And it's also still true in Dark Souls 3. But just because everybody says it, it doesn't mean it diminishes it in any way. It's a good thing, and I should also endeavor to point it out whenever I can. This here, down here, obviously, again, should do this the obvious way, but this is the non-obvious way, so we're going to take it. What do we have here? Way back around. And an item. And that's basically it, but I won't complain. We also get another view of things down there. We see that there is something illuminated, which is a bit of a weird lighting effect, I think, but it doesn't matter too much. back of these houses. Do we get any new information from this? Possibly. We look closely here. That should be an evangelist. Well, it doesn't really matter that we see her there because her presence is going to be very, very obvious very soon. You see? She's up there. These guys have not noticed us yet, but what is this? Is it something? Is it something? It's a spiral of slow, slow death. Block it. It still damaged us and it gave us the bleed effect. It is actually very much magical. Very dangerous. Fortunately, we have these houses to duck into. Does this do anything for us? No, it's just weird lighting. This house is just for safety. I'm good at spacing, especially with weapons I'm not used to. So, we're being pelted by a ranged attacker we absolutely cannot do anything about, so this time we do have to learn to take out the melee ones very quickly, before, especially in between bouts of the ranged spells hitting us, basically. So it flies slowly enough and predictably enough and in large intervals that we can actually avoid it relatively easily. With the added caveat that we do have some ambushes here. Though he did give us a way to get into house, and hey, we got another Thrall ambush, how surprising. This is a very hectic segment, a little bit too hectic for my taste, to be quite honest, but it gets the job done and putting you on edge, I think. So far, nothing what we've seen so far, except for the single evangelist up there, was particularly hard. It was a lot of enemies, but not a lot of very hard enemies. And here you're forced to think on your toes and handle this situation. It can be kind of difficult, can be hard to understand what the game actually wants you to do, but I think it just wants you to rush, basically. It's weird because you want to take things slowly sometimes, but Dark Souls 3 very deliberately sometimes... What? How? Did it just completely 180? Whatever. Just sometimes tells you to go for it. Just go for it, dude. This is weird. Usually she doesn't fall down, but I will take it. She has a ton of hyper armor in her attacks, man, it's super crazy. But I do too, and I deal a lot of damage. So, that's nice, isn't it? So, what I was going to say, usually she stays up there and you can safely be underneath here, get the hammer guy out, and that is fine. And then you can slowly but surely take him out and then deal with her. Well, she shoots you ineffectively, didn't work out like that now, but that is also fine. What you then would do is go around here, climb up, and then you could deal with her, possibly throw her down, and plunge attack, all the fun things in your arsenal, that is fine. But in general, Dark Souls 3 wants you to rush sometimes. Far, far more than other Souls games, it rewards in some situations you just going for it. Hello. Cyrillic letters. I'm sorry, I cannot read that. Would have to ask my wife for that. She had some Russian. But pleased to meet you. Hope you enjoy the stream. Yeah. And it can be kind of a change in pace for many Souls players, especially coming from Dark Souls 2, which is very, very deliberate. I sometimes like going for it, just going for it and rushing things, and as you get more experienced, you think probably that this is the best tactic. At some point you will realize that you will just want to finish the game at some point and you know where everything is, so you can do this. It can be kind of jarring the very first time. So what is back here? Another item. Wonderful. And the Titanite shards we found are of course amazing because we want to upgrade our weapon at some point. The Bastard Sword is already upgraded with 3 of them, and I'm not going to talk too much about the upgrade system, how it takes so fucking many of things. But you're probably at this point looking for a +2 weapon even, or a different +1 weapon if you're kind of dissatisfied with the one you've been using before. So every one of these is very welcome, I think, especially at this point of the game. There is another backdoor thing here, and a crystal lizard, which looks like it wants to lead you down there at some point. and I think it's kind of impossible to get both it and the item, but I mean, I didn't get the item now, so let's just go for it. Okay, this does this. Hello, Hodrick. Gonna deal with you shortly. Sharp jump, very nice. So, when you get invaded, and this is an NPC invaded, because obviously I'm offline, your first instinct should be to check out if there is nobody else around, no enemies. I've cleared out everything up here. Okay, so this is fine. Now where is he coming from? Apparently not from behind me, because I ran back quite a lot. And NPC invaders, they always know where you are. They always go for you, and they're always placed in spots where they don't take half the level to hunt you down, obviously, because everything else would be a pain. So we're just going to wait for him here, and there he is, slowly coming in. This is the first time you're invaded by a purple guy, which can also be kind of jarring, because that has never happened before in Souls. And it can be disorienting, and especially tough on you is that it comes after this gauntlet up there. Now where is he? Come in, man. Doesn't want to. Okay, then I guess we will deal with this guy first. This did not go as planned. This still did not go as planned. I'm kind of bad at fighting these guys, but I do know that after 2 hits you really want to back off, because then they tend to gain a hyper armor attack. I wanted this to be a jump attack. Didn't work out. It did work out again, at least we did trade. I think I would have traded anyway. So now I'm very low with an NPC invader just standing around here, which is just peachy, but we will just have to deal with it, I guess. See how it goes. One thing, however, in the interest of, you know, not elongating the stream too much, I will use some executive knowledge, and I know that there is a bonfire here. So let's light it. This is a checkpoint now. I also know that there are no more enemies which are triggered with this. And now we can deal with Hodrick, and if I die, I can just deal with him again. Come here. Very good, you almost hit me. Please stop it with the stance, you're embarrassing yourself. Now the jump attack works. Fantastic. It's like we're fire buddies. That's fantastic. Usually you would suspect him to throw a fireball there and back off, but I know what he's doing. He's casting power within. Now he's healing, and you can't do anything about it because he still pivots around, and this is Dark Souls 3. And healing is almost instantaneous. So yeah, power within, this is why he's using life. Wow, wow, that zoning, that range, amazing. He has almost the same sword as I do, so let's do some mirror match. Fuck you. And he is out of healing. Wonderful. How did this not hit him? And yeah, he has the same hyper armor as I do on that attack, so now we really have to be quite careful. Oh, that was a mistake. Oh, that was a mistake. Oh, really? You're trying this? But thank you very much. This is warmth. What warmth heals us. So that went well. A little nail biting, but yeah, I'm kind of satisfied with that. We even did get back some Estus and some free healing. Very nice. Thank you, Hodrick. And a Vertebra Shackle, which is a Covenant item, which can be quite a pain to get. Not as bad as some others, but we'll think about it later. Yeah, with that free healing received and 3 more Estus from killing Hodrick, we can actually just finish exploring up there, because there was a jump which I missed. And also, by the way, if you missed the Crystal Lizard the first time, you can just come up here and get him from below. It's not a big deal. Yeah, I think it is kind of weird that you basically have to choose getting the item or him, because he will start running away even if you just get close to that upper platform there. Doesn't matter too much, it's just a tiny bit of weirdness. I do also appreciate that there is nothing in this room, no enemies, no items. It's basically, I think, just like a preparation, a transitionary area. While you see Hodrick invade, you will shit your pants the first time, maybe, probably, or you're not embered. might also be the case, then Hodrick never shows up. But anyway, and it happens in here, so you're not at the same time being accosted by enemies. They want you to take him slow, to see him coming, but not to surprise you in a manner where you're at the moment currently fighting the Evangelist, for example. He will never invade up here. Fucking still got the Dark Souls 1 reflexes. I hate the system where you jump with the same button, which is why I always have it on the clicky, but I always keep forgetting when I switch games. This is the one thing which fucks me up. Usually I can switch between the games rather easily, even though they play pretty differently, but this is bad. Jumping in general is bad. It's not even a good item, I don't think, but I want to get it. I need to show it. This is it. This is how the stream dies. This is how I lose my one viewer. Finally, Jesus. 2 rusted coins. Amazing. It's for getting drops from enemies to farm stuff. You know, that fun activity which everybody likes. There's nothing here, by the way. Anyway, once you come down there, once you deal with Hodrick, once you kill that other guy, it's quite the hard end to the gauntlet, I would say, but then you finally can get the safety of this bonfire, which you cannot see from above, I don't think. I mean, I haven't checked, but I've never casually seen it, and I've explored a lot behind the scenes here. So they really want you to find it through exploring after dealing with all of this. Can be kind of tough, can be kind of tough. Funny thing is, this is probably the harder route due to the Evangelist and Hodrick, and if you took the bridge, which I mentioned before at the first part here, you would have far easier time. But I didn't get that the first time I did it. I just didn't get it. You can take a look at this door. I think it's locked. Yes, it doesn't open from this side. This is always something worth keeping in mind because it means that there are shortcuts in this level, and shortcuts are great, and you've got something to look forward to and find later on. We're going to do now is go back and recoup our souls, because that is something which I always like doing after a longish stretch. I mean, that was kind of long, I would say. And with a lot of talking, so it's a good opportunity to wind down and spend things which we might lose due to 2 unfortunate deaths in a row later on. And we don't want that to happen, that would hurt. By the way, I looked it up for all know of you who watched the last stream and also this one. I was wondering if Vort's hammer needs dexterity. No, it does not. It is one of those strength weapons that actually do not need any dexterity at all. So we can currently wield it once we get it. That is nice. I haven't gotten any further plans than this. I do know that I do not want to fuck around with much spells, maybe some cold snap, but I don't really need that unit right now. So I'm just gonna pump life a little bit, like once, and see what else I can get.
Farewell, Ashen One. May
Also, we got something to deliver, don't we?
Oh, hello, and
yes, I'm back. Yes, yes, yes. Do you want this?
Heavens, she was already dead.
Yeah, of course she was.
Thank you. I'm not surprised, though.
Me neither.
Almost a relief, really.
Really?
You can keep as...
Thank you. I would have taken it anyway. I need it for the achievement after all. Now I got all achievement in this game. He still doesn't sell anything new, not yet, but we'll get to that. Yeah, all of these take 10 dexterity, except for the mace. Interesting. We do not need anything from him. Buckler always annoys me that it takes 30 dex. This would look better with my stuff. I don't care. I'm not that much into fashion. I mean, I could buy this stuff, but it looks like garbage. It always has looked like garbage, and I think it was also just terrible in general in Dark Souls 1. So I always put it like, oh, I have 1,000 souls left. This is still something I can get. Oh yeah, I still haven't bought that. You can buy unlimited of these. Great, amazing. Everybody likes the hard leather armor set. It completes the look.
Oh, this and I...
Yeah. draw out true strength. This is something which I would do in a show every trap run, but I do not intend on doing it this time because I don't need to be hollow and everything else. I don't care about this quest line, I don't think so. Do I care? There is nothing there for a strength build, isn't there? Like, fuck
Be
him.
safe.
He's just gonna die alone and unloved at some point, whatever. I don't need his services, I don't need his sorceries, I don't need his bullshit. Has the other dude shown up yet? I think once you reach a settlement or something. Yeah, and there he is. Hi.
And
Marian
fast
can-
on them.
yeah, please let me
Use
wait
them
people in
for what?
offline mode. I'm going to give you a tongue later and then ignore you until the very end of the fucking game. Because the side quests in this are bullshit. You have anything new for me?
Ooh, yet to give in, eh?
Yeah, very good. Ooh,
Good.
you have.
What you and so at the
Anything
foot of
useful? If you
At the
the
foot of
stones, yes, at some point you will give me a stone, but not now. All right. Oh yeah, I found an Estus shard. I always keep forgetting these. These are useful. I should use them.
That is what.
Of course, I'm going to enforce the Estus flask. What else would I do? Stupid fucking questions.
Ah,
I want to get the torch. I was missing it during the dark room before. Chain set. Oh fuck it, let's get the chain set. And the leather gauntlets for some reason. 12 decks. 10 int. Should I get the dagger for backstabs and stuff? Nah, it's far funnier to backstab with a big weapon, and this is what I'm going to aim for.
Ashen One.
Whatever, fuck all of the rest. Going to put this towards the bank for our next level. We don't have a bank, so just hope we don't die, I guess. So anyway, we could continue further here, but I wanted to show the bridge, and it's a good idea to show it now, because as far as I know, there is a door at the other end of the bridge. It only opens from the other side, which is not really a shortcut, because I never have to go back through there, so I don't quite get it. Listen, this is not a perfect area to analyze, okay? It's a little bit too open for my taste. Don't think it is just my taste. I think genuinely there are some problems with how many ways you can go, which are not super clearly conveyed as to and balanced within their usefulness within each other. I hope this was not too confusingly formulated. Wow, I missed everything. I'm good at this game. Doesn't matter too much. I can now rush through this because I've seen everything. Actually, let's show off the ambush. I think if I get this item, yeah, no, he comes down. Yeah, and I mean it's not much of an ambush. Like, you have to go for this item, and then you hear the sound behind you. If you hear the sound, it's not a big deal. Oh, I don't know. Some of these things are not super thought out, or maybe I'm just too experienced. I don't know. I always kill this guy until he drops his weapon, and then I never kill this guy again. I don't know how much more often we're going to go through here, but you know, it never hurts. It never hurts. So anyway, this bridge I was talking about, going to take it now and check out these houses behind there. One thing, of course, if you do take this bridge, you never have to deal with the Evangelists and her guys, so it might genuinely be just a side path you can take if this feels bad for you. I haven't really considered this because, as I said, I didn't quite see the bridge the first time I was here, so I always took the hard path. And yeah, bad for me, but it's just the way it goes. Did I miss an item down there? Yeah, I did. Well, too bad. Gonna get that. And also, there's this other fucker. And also, I always forget that if there is something next to the door that leads down the other path. Gonna have to check this out too. Oh, the drop jump resins. Wow, okay. What was that? Thought it was a backstab, but then it didn't do one. Doesn't matter too much. So, item. Very useful. And now we can show off what it looks like triggering this ambush here from the back, basically. Just go here. There are two of these guys, so one of them jumped down early, so it didn't even trigger correctly when you're down there. That's funny. Oh. Yeah, I think it's just very easy to trigger this guy. And then he's like, oh, I'm gonna jump on this guy's face. Yeah, you can just... What the fuck is wrong with the backstabs today? Huh, good thing I'm recording this. Or YouTube is, right? Right? Funny stories here. Funny stories here. But yeah. Only one guy to deal with down there now if you want to go down there, but I'm just going to check out one tiny thing here and then we're going to take the bridge as promised. I'm sorry, but I want to see what is to the left here because I keep forgetting. It's nothing. You have to take this route through here. Aren't we glad we looked? And this is why I would do a test stream or something for Dark Souls 1. Though, to be quite honest, Dark Souls 1 isn't nearly as full of nooks and crannies as this one. It's a bit more angular, let's say, in many ways. Dark Souls 3 looks and plays far more organically with the good and the bad that brings. So, if you can rush one of a pair of enemies like this, you should always do so. This here is the most obvious hidden path in the universe, which is why we're not going to take it for now. Usually I would, but, you know, I know how the level is laid out. It's better to just open this door here first. I took this guy out now because the thing is, I've never not noticed that there is going to be an ambush. Like, it's blatantly obvious. You come here, shield out. Nothing happens. There is a compartment to the side. There is a guy sitting on the floor. He's like, what the fuck do you think is supposed to happen here? You have to be incredibly stupid after all of your experiences in Lothric and before here to rush this item and be like, oh my god, free item, I should get it. Hopefully nothing bad happens to me. Oh, where do all these guys come from? How surprising to me, a brutal idiot. Yeah. I mean, at some point it's getting comical. Door. Not an ambush, because this guy's not meant to ambush you, it's meant to surprise you because he deals a fuck ton of damage with his flamberge, and he also has a shitload of health. Let me demonstrate the damage. Oh yeah, okay. It's not a fuck ton because I wear kind of heavy armor, but he can surprise you. Also, I'm really bad at parrying. Wow, it doesn't matter, bro. So, really? No. Okay. The flamberge is an incredibly rare drop of his. And I think he's like the only wielder of it in the game, just like the harp in the other room. And it's stupid. I mean, it's not anything particularly interesting. It's just a great sword with bleed. I mean, you can make a build with it, but then you have to farm this guy for 20 fucking hours. It's dumb. I don't like it. Why does Dark Souls 3 do this? So this door, as I said, you cannot open from the other side to the best of my knowledge. This is also something I would probably check if I didn't, you know, if I did this as an actual substream extravaganza, which is meant to actually teach people about something. I have no idea where this guy is coming from. Today everything is weird. This must be the stream curse people are talking about. Now I experience it vigorously, I say. Oh wow, nice. And the Caduceus round shield. I think it has kind of high magic defense, which is useful exactly once when you have it in Dark Souls 1 of the graveyard run at the start, and then use it against the Moonlight Butterfly, and that's the only use it has. Down here is an item, which we're going to get to later on. Maybe you can survive this, probably with glitches, doesn't matter right now. It's just kind of a preview thingy. Wasn't there an NPC or something here which can talk to you about stuff? This must be a reason why I keep missing it. Is it up there? We're going to see. We're going to see. Anyway, this bridge here leads to another part of the level which we can explore. And there is this pathway down here. I wouldn't call it obvious. It took me quite a while to find it, in fact. If you look at it like this, just in a vacuum, you have a light here, It is guiding you. You have enemies moving down there. This looks a little more enticing. It looks like you would go through here and then down and around and go through there, so you don't have to take the fall. It offers you the opportunity, but I never took it at the very start, and then I forgot it. But just keep it in mind. For now we're going to take another route. Just wanted to get this door open in case I decided to go, again, another route. Because up here, this hidden path, it does offer us some goodies. But we will never see them if we don't come here first, because then we land on the other side of the door and it's not open. Ah! Annoying. So, goodies. And also, fucking rooftop snipers everywhere. And this guy, I mean, you can see this guy. He dances around you like an asshole, but these blow darts hit you. They don't deal a lot of damage, but they can interrupt you in dumb ways, dumb points. First time I was here, I was like, what the fuck do I do here? And I still don't quite know what to do, because they are really, really annoying to avoid. Like, even with my shield out and behind these rocks, there is not really a safe space. This guy harasses you all this time. Usually there is a good way to deal with these kind of ambushes. Like, there is an intended way for you to stand, like for example behind these rocks, you know, and then you won't get hit, and then you can get this guy drawn out, and everything is dandelions. This here, I don't know. I took a bow and shot them in the head until they all died. It was really fucking tedious. And to this date, I don't know if they have an intended way to approach this, or if they really, really, again, want you to just rush it. Kill all of these guys quickly if you can manage. Through the weird hitboxes of the bastard sword, apparently. It's always a little bit shorter than I think it is. And then I guess you will just have to rush the roofs themselves and take them out again in melee. It's super not ideal. It's super janky, and it weirds me out a bit, because usually you don't have these kind of situations in Dark Souls 3 where I'm genuinely at a loss for what they want you to do to approach it in an ideal and safe and a well thought out fashion. The only real tactic I can find here is just go for it, which is okay in some instances, but even just going for it is surprisingly dangerous here. Like, I handled it well, of course, after a while, and of knowing what I'm doing, and I have a really good armor and a strong weapon. But it can be kind of harrowing the first time, and I don't have an answer, basically. If you're a new player who's still struggling and doesn't really know the dodge timings and what all these buttons do, if you asked me how do I approach this situation, I couldn't tell you, and this irks me a bit, because I like knowing answers to things, basically. Finally, best shield in the game. Here is the NPC I was looking for.
Another Nana disappeared. Sir Granton carries a cage. He ever has his cage. And Nana's never coming back. So come into the cage and become Nana's shade.
This is fascinating. Not really, but I never found this guy because I come around here and it's like, aha, you're trying to ambush me. He's probably going to drop down later on, so I just fucking killed him. For once I didn't think of doing my usual test. I'm clicking the right stick right now, as you can see from the camera adjusting. If you don't lock onto an enemy looking thing, it's probably an NPC. You can probably talk to it. It's probably not, again, an enemy. I didn't do that because it looked so obvious to me. I just rushed him down. And so I didn't get this hint, which is kind of a rubbish hint for one of the worst hidden side quests in the game, because you can very easily miss it and then be fucked out of it forever after a certain point. It's kind of weird. We're going to get it, of course, because I know where it is. But I don't like it. No, sir, I don't like it at all. This roof here is surprisingly safe for how angled it is. If this were Dark Souls 1, I would be dead twice, thrice, 5 times over. And I'm glad for it that it's not Dark Souls 1. Did I miss something back there? I did. See? Tons of goodies back here. And again, if I fell down here, then I would be locked out of going back because the door is locked. Then I would have to progress forward. It's a little weird. I don't get it, because this door, it doesn't open a shortcut or anything. It just leads back to the beginning of the area. So why make it one way? There's a lot of things back here which I do not quite get. It seems tacked on, I guess. Maybe it's completely separate from the rest of the area. And it seems strangely unfinished in a way where I can't just put my finger on. These Homeward Bones here are kind of important actually, because there are multiple ways and points of not quite being able to return. As you can see here, if we fall down here, and this is absolutely 100% intended, we can maybe, yeah, we can go back here. Okay, granted. But there is another point of no return thingy in a second. It's this guy. And you know, this guy is an enemy. This is the true evil of this. It is an enemy, but check it out. Doesn't actually do anything. How are you supposed to find this out and not rush him down? Well, be less aggressive, I guess. It is still fucking garbage. And he has a side quest for you, basically. And this is one of two ways to do this side quest, and the other one is even more obscure. So now let's see if we can Havoc's physics this thing here into not falling down. Doesn't really matter if it does, but let's see. Yeah, perfect. This usually doesn't work. Flame Stoneplate ring. I will put this on because I don't actually have any rings, I think. No, I don't. Oh yeah, I could have worn this all the time. Doesn't really matter, it only increases my equip load, so if I roll a little bit worse, maybe? Nah, but if I'm low health, then I will take less damage, which never should happen anyway, and usually I will die anyway. This is also a bit of a weird corpse placement. I think it's meant to be like you just return here if you fuck it up the first time, but you could also conceivably hit it down. It lands down there. This is normal ground. You will be there later, far later, but only if you go there without ever resting on a bonfire, and there is like 2 bonfires in between. It's also kind of weird. I mean, apparently you can do it without it falling down, but it's kind of a crapshoot because these physics, man, they're not made to be puzzles, I guess. But yeah, let's trigger the side quest for this guy, and I think I will have to go back to a bonfire, which is super inefficient, but that's just the way this area is designed, man. It's kind of weird. There is no good path through it, I think. I would have had to route this more, but I'm just playing around here anyway, or for that one viewer, which I might or might not have. It's fine. I like you. And I like all of you which will watch this later, or not. It's fine. It's fun. I want to play this game anyway. And usually I explore everything anyway. And this is just practice. So yeah, he takes you somewhere to Nana, I guess. I don't get it because this guy is not a Nana, who we're going to talk to in a second. Yeah, stop it with the cutscenes. I skipped it. Doesn't matter. Well, hello, good sir. Have we met before?
Well, what's up? This pit is for hollows, not for the likes of you sane folk. Or perhaps you are a hollow, posing as otherwise?
Haven't got any strength draw out deals, my friend.
No, of course you're not. That's what you mad fools always say.
Well, you're one to talk. Give me a
But
weapon.
we'll all be mad soon enough. And should you be undead, well, all the more so. Beware, the shackles of the gods are fragile. You might need this. Etch it on your heart if you feel your sanity slipping. Come here to pile up your victims, for that will form your anchor. You'll see when you go mad. They'll be your family.
It's kind of sad that this obscure-ass shit is the only way you get to talk to Hodrick. Yes, of course, this is the guy who invaded us before. Because he's great. I love his voice acting, and this is the only way you get to hear it. It's super strange. Finally. And here, you can enter the Wild Trooper Shackle, which he gave you. You can find this altar without ever getting his Covenant item, because this is one of 2 ways which you can obtain it. And it's so weird. It is so weird. So anyway, how do we get out of here? Well,
You'll go mad one day, but not today. Take my advice. Use this bone and leave this place.
thank you.
This pit is for hollows, and for the occasional madman fond of piling up victims. You've better things to do. I'd hope.
Actually, I don't, but as I'm playing in offline mode, there are not many victims to be found. Yeah, I wanted to do this for a while now. So yeah, this is the only way to get out of here, which means we do have to reset the entire area. I don't know if there is ever an area in Dark Souls anywhere else in any Dark Souls game where you absolutely have to use a Homeward Bone. I think this one or two ledges in the Dragon Eyrie in Dark Souls 2 come to mind. But this is after you get the Aged Feather, where of course you have to have a way to teleport out. um, but yeah, in this case it's just forces you to go back, man. It's just the way it is. So not only is the way to trigger the side quest incredibly obscure, you can easily fuck it up. It also forces you to go back here. And it's just weird. It's really, really weird. But it's kind of in line with many other side quests in Dark Souls 3, so, you know. It's just what you have to accept. That sick double kill just doesn't work all the time, does it now? As before, I will ignore the not ambush from up here, kill the guy here, and then just book it for the bridge, because we have explored everything down there. That is nice. Give me a weapon. Too bad. Loretta's bone does not respawn in any matter, in case you were super curious about that. See if we can get this encounter a little more in the intended way or something, because last time that guy just turned around and didn't care for me while I took out his ranged friend. Yeah, something like this. So you want to be sure that the ranged attack doesn't hit you, then you have to deal with the melee guy while the ranged guy hits you, and you have to absolutely make sure to deal with the ranged guy, with the melee guy in between shots of the ranged guy. This is how I deal with this. These guys hate him? I don't think so. Better not be. This again. This again. And another shot at the flamberge. Yoi! Too bad. No flamberge for me. If I got it, I would use it. See what I said about where this guy come from? Last time? There was a spitter here. I think it's this guy up there. I must have triggered him somehow and he walks down. It's a little strange. As I said, usually doesn't happen. So, as I was saying, down there, this is a path which looks like you should get to it later on. It doesn't. You have to do this. This is the only way to get to this path. And as I said, the first time I played, I completely forgot about this existing, and I was super weirded out because there's a bonfire here. And you know, there is a list of bonfires and there's just one missing. And I was like, where the fuck is this bonfire? How could I have missed the bonfire here? Because I was really scouring every nook and cranny of this place. Obviously, it's very early in the game. I want to get every advantage I can get and find all of the secrets. But I didn't find this. I just didn't find it. And I personally blame thinking that it looks like a path where you come back to at some point. So I thought, I don't have to go down there ever because I will see it later on and it's going to be fine, but it just never happens. This is not something that happens. You have to go through there to get up here, and otherwise you just go by there and down there through the square up there, and that's it. And you never get up there again. But I want to show the square. I want to show it, and so we are going to know these people, jump down to the square, start from the beginning. Like so, I could have planned this better. So when you come down here, these guys lob fire bombs at you, and everything is exploding, and this is really bad for you. And usually both of them are up there, and it looks bad. It looks really bad. So what you do is rush down this bridge, and then this guy comes at you and you have to deal with him without venturing too far, because, you know, you will get things thrown at you, and that is bad in most civilized situations. Don't actually know if this is useful for anything, except maybe knocking out shields, but damn is it fun to do. I guess it's also a guaranteed stagger, so there's that. Weave, bob and weave, bob and weave. Now we can take out this guy. And you see, this is something where I was harping on before, that there is an opportunity, and I just showed you how, to get up to these guys and punish them in melee, and punish them hard for being assholes to throw things down there. And I appreciate that, and I thought this opportunity was solely a safe opportunity, like coming from behind. You will never get hit by these guys if you do that. With the shooters on top of the houses there. Hey, you're blocking the way for my item, man. Get away. I always forget that he has this weird squealing scream. I think it's supposed to be unsettling. Also, you can go by here and get burned by this fire. There's not much of a point. Where is that guy? Oh, there he is. Thank you! So nothing more here. And again, just to show that if you go here, you will never be able to go up there. There is just no way to do that. And so ultimately, if you're super curious, you will just go back and fall down there and then realize that this is the path that leads to the bonfire. Yes, I just wasn't. It's just a personal experience of mine. Oh, this is well done. Thank you for ruining the moment, jerk. Awesome. There we go again. And better routing, and I would have taken the path through the plaza first. But it doesn't matter too much. Let's get back up. Punish these guys because we're not finished here. Hi. Bye. Thanks for all the fire bombs, jerks. Yeah, there is one more. So where was the third one? Doesn't matter. And there, this guy. I was missing this guy for ages, and I was just wondering where the fuck am I supposed to give this tools to. So yeah, it took me quite a while to find him. Oh,
welcome to my abode. I am Cornix, an old pyromancer.
I don't care about your feelings about pies.
As you see. But
just don't bother me with them.
I get it.
Yes, please. Finally, the hand aches. I think that's Pyromancer starting here, so it makes sense that it's next to him, but it also doesn't make any sense whatsoever because it's fucking garbage in comparison to many other weapons. You know, maybe it's fine, probably, but it's really boring. And why is it here? I don't know. I always miss this item at first. Took me a while to find it. Just, you have to catch a glimpse of it, basically. Do we even have boats? No. Well, that's a pickle. I don't think it... I can probably just shoot an arrow which deals no damage. Yeah, okay. Usually I get here with an equipable bow. It's rare that I use a class that has such little dexterity. And so I was just like, what do I use then? What do I use? And there's the partisan. The partisan is sadly garbage, like most spears in Dark Souls 3. I tried using it once because it has a good moveset. I can show you real quick. Where do we have it? Yeah. I mean, of course I don't have enough dex, but just to showcase, it's a spear which stabs with the R1 and which slashes sideways with the R2, which is basically the ideal moveset any weapon should aspire to. This is like the platonic ideal of a slow but widely covering sweep and a quick stab, which is great for covering some distance and zoning the enemy. If you two-hand it, you get a stab and you get a bigger slash, and it's basically it. More damage, but you can't use your shield, and because it is a spear, it has the added benefit of being able to stab over your shield. And apparently From thought that this is super broken, and therefore all spears should do garbage damage, and therefore it is 100% better to just use a fucking halberd, because it also stabs, it also sweeps, and it deals like 1.5 times more base damage. I don't get it. I don't know why spears are so bad. I know that there are some good spears in this game, but the partisan itself, it just doesn't deal any damage. And I don't get it. I mean, yeah, in PvP it's good to use a spear because you can have counter damage with the Leo ring, but for normal gameplay it's just super weird to have two weapons, the halberd and the spear, and one of them is just bad. And they are almost the same, and one of them is bad. And it's not like you can't use the Leo ring um, with the halberd too. I don't know. I guess the spear has more innate counter damage, but it's just strange in my book. Just very strange. So this is also an interesting area because, again, I'm not super sure how they absolutely 100% intend you to do it, because there is a bunch of different situations that can happen here, which completely depends on a group of enemies starting to move. And I don't know what triggers it, and because you can approach it either from here or after you come all the way from here, from inside, or you can come from up there and fall down, and you can take a shortcut later on. So I'm absolutely not sure how they want you to approach this area first, and I'm pretty sure they also don't. And this way the openness kind of hurts it, because usually the enemy placement, as I've said a lot of times before, is very, very deliberate, and you will walk into ambushes and traps that have been placed handcraftedly by the designers. And now it's not even there. I don't know where they are. There's usually an evangelist, 2 dogs, and 3 workers. I don't know where they are. Probably they're just up there and they don't patrol. They just reach the end of the line and then they stay there. I will try to find them, like more or less deliberately walk into their ambush, and also hit this dog, which is like guarding this item in a very obvious way. Yeah, and yeah, I completely avoided this group of enemies just by taking my time. Seriously, where are they? Not have taken the door? Does it open from this side? It does not. Alright. Alright. Maybe a little further down. I'm honestly really confused. At least I've usually seen a trace of them somewhere. Guess this is it again, the magic live streams. It's always a great surprise when the guy throws the pot, because the one guy on top, which you probably have to kill before you get here, he cannot throw his pot. This guy can. Wow, that was way off the mark, buddy. Yeah, I know you have hyper armor on your attacks. Fuck you. I don't do. Wow! I completely missed the blood loss. and the pot, so oh, wow, first unintentional death, I think. Go me? Oh, the bastard sword, really? The bastard sword. I should try this out. So, how about we approach it from a different side now? I don't really care about these souls. So, let's go through the other side of that locked door. Maybe then we will find the guys that were supposed to spawn there. I don't know. Man, I wish I could cut out these loading screens. Like, live cut out them. That's just not going to happen. By the way, you might have noticed, if you've never seen this game before, which would be true, now I have 30% less health because my thingy isn't burning anymore on the top left. This is called not being embered, and it basically means that I lost the bonus I got after killing the boss, and that bonus allowed me to have more health. That's basically it. I handled this very poorly again. I'm not super good at fighting these guys. It's not a big deal. And I think it's one of the main advantages Dark Souls 3 has in public perception, I guess, over Dark Souls 2, because in Dark Souls 2 you actually lose life with every death, and in Dark Souls 3 you do too. You lose, in fact, you lose more life per death, per the first death than in Dark Souls 2, a lot more life. But if it's framed as a bonus instead, well, then people feel less bad about it. So what just happened to these guys? Why did so many of them die? Oh, that is why. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Apparently I cannot dodge this well. So let's just get back, especially while enemies are also hounding me. I think this is kind of a fun area, because it is a great oh shit moment, and it means you kind of can see it coming, because there is a lot of these spear-sized, or even larger, arrows here, and you can see these guys being taken out if you take your time. You can maybe watch where it's coming from a safe distance, because apparently it only starts back there. It's up this tower, and I must not be a very perceptive person, because I never realized that, but from the very first bonfire you can see on top of this tower there is a giant who fires these arrows. You could see him at the very start of this stream, and YouTube allows you to go back, so if you want you can do right now, that he's up there and firing arrows at you. I won't bother dealing with any of these items here for now. I could possibly, but I won't. Oh yeah, there is a second harp user, so I was wrong again. You can get the harp also from this guy. Amazing. It's interesting again here, because it literally forces you into here, rushing into here, and then you have to deal with this ambush. Usually you would take your time going into here, being careful. You probably trigger this guy first. You don't have to deal with the second guy here, but he needs you to rush in here, unless you do his side quest first, which you can absolutely do. And only then you trigger these guys, and they will try and hit you. And this is something that Dark Souls 3 likes to do, as we've seen before. It just tells you that you are going to deal with these two enemies right now, on our terms, and you cannot avoid that. And I have always liked if you could be clever in avoiding fighting. Where is that jump here? Oh, this is the perfect opportunity for the torch to come out. And Dark Souls 3 doesn't let you at some points. I'm not super sure if I like it. It's what the game wants to do, and I guess that is okay. I think I just jumped over there. But it always leaves a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. But it's just the difference in playstyles, really. I mean, I shouldn't harp on this too much, or call it a genuine flaw. It's what Dark Souls 3 wants to do. It is a more action-oriented game. It is faster paced than the other games, and says you walk in here and then you deal with two enemies at the same time. That's what you are going to do now, and you're going to like it. You cannot come back from the other side, because this door opens only from this side, as you've just seen. You can make peace with the giant before you go here, and then you can do it. And fuck me if I know if they intended that or not, because you can, as we've seen, go through the other side of this door, which you're going to see right now before I confuse anybody. Because Lord knows I've watched some Let's Plays where people are like, ah, obviously we're on the other side of the door, and I'm like, which door? Oh my god, I'm completely lost, because I haven't played this game 3 billion times before. But this only opens from this side. And we are here where I was just searching for a certain group of enemies, which I was convinced must be around here. Let's see if we can find them and also get back our souls. Also, there's dogs around here, and I always forget where exactly. This guy was looking out for the item. Right? One more, maybe? Or was that guy with the group? If so, there is the evangelist. There is the evangelist. But where did they go then? Did they glitch through the stairs? Did at some point I receive a number of souls and didn't know where from? Super weird. So yeah, there is a procession of an evangelist, followed by some workers. Here, yeah. And we saw one of these workers stand up there. We saw one of the dogs. We saw no trace of the evangelist. We saw no trace of the club worker. It's so weird. So weird. I don't know what happened. And yeah, anyway. Now we have seen these guys and the door is open. We can go back there if you want. So let's get our souls. Anything else here who wants to fuck? No? Wonderful. Okay. And then let's not actually go there where I was suspecting the other guys, but that they must have reached their destination because the worker guy was standing up there. And let's go here instead. There is no... Amazing. I think this dog is kind of badly placed, which we're going to see when we come back later on. You come from up there, it's not a problem. Apparently. This looks suspiciously rat-filled, sewerish. Oh my god, the sewer level this early. I hate this game so much. Nah, it's just kidding. It's not a big deal. It's just a few rats. Thought I had hyper armor. A little bit later during the swing. Sadly, these do not drop humanity because it doesn't exist in this game. But it does remind you a little bit of the depths, I think, in Dark Souls 1, deliberately. And we get a very important item, of course. Cestus, it's everybody's favorite. Probably one of the most used PvP items, funnily enough, where you can just punch people with it. Of course, that is the main reason to use a Cestus, and you can punch people a little more with it and even uppercut them. You can also two-hand the Cestus, and now you have two Cestus, and then you can do stuff like this. It's L1 combo. Dark Souls 3's answer to the power stance system, which was really fun, is only give power stance to some weapons, which are often garbage. The power stance moveset is okay, but it feels like it's been severely nerfed from its Dark Souls 2 incarnation, where you could obliterate the entire game with fists. I'm not even joking, it was so much fun. And you have this here as a weapon art, which is just worse than the spinning, okay. Even though the spinning wasn't really good, it was fun. And Dark Souls 3 sometimes is just not as fun as Dark Souls 2. Sorry to inform everybody. This is my opinion, I'm sticking to it. So this is Mist, which is super obviously hiding a thing, but Geronimo... Oh my god, this is a big rat. I was thought like, okay, yeah, we have another obvious reference to the... Wow, this went well! Didn't expect it to go that well. Good bastard sword, good bastard sword. This is another obvious reference to the Dark Souls 1 sewer, the depths, the upper part of the depths where you find the big rat. I mean, it goes without saying. It worked on me the first time in a way, because I knew there was something hiding in here, but it really takes a long time until you see the big rat, and it's a genuine oh shit moment. It's fine. It's another one of these kind of attempted jump scares, which I'm always not super sure what to think about. The other games, they also had their fair share of oh shit, where does this guy come from moments, but this is very deliberate. It's not like they hide some guy behind the corner. You could angle the camera scene behind the corner and be like, yeah, okay, good thing I was careful. This is meant to be hidden and to surprise you and to scare you. I don't know. Locked means we have to find a key, so it is not a shortcut probably. It's just something we're going to come back later to find a new area. You know, Dark Souls code. Is there something here? I don't think so. No, there's not. There's a way to get by the rat if you don't care for it. So that's nice that it exists. There are a lot of these tiny moments which I'm trying to find out. I mean, I'm criticizing Dark Souls 3 a lot, and I hope that I will not get flamed by all three of my viewers. No, it's fine. I don't actually care. But it is still a Souls game. It still has a lot of these neat tiny touches where you don't think about it, but I do. No, I mean, a lot of players probably notice that you can get by here to bypass the rat, but for me, it speaks of a designer, of a level designer who genuinely wants you to have fun, to have options, to give you toys to play around with. It doesn't force you to kill this rat every time you get killed up there by some guy throwing soup at you. You can just run past it. It encourages you to do that. The first time you kill it, you do it for the Bloodbite ring and because you're genuinely surprised, and you have to go through there because this door is one way only. And every other time you don't have to do that. It is not for example, like many times in Dark Souls 1, where a boss run is always going to involve you going up this fucking tower and killing the guy who shoots you in the back, so he doesn't shoot you in the back when you run past him. In this case, you can't just run past him. You're allowed to. That is nice, that is good that it exists, and I like it. Just gonna take a short break here, rest my voice a little bit, and do some shopping and one more level or so. And candy, just a bit.
Welcome, speak. Very well. Then take nourish. Farewell, Ashmaid.
Ah.
Anything new I want to buy? At some point I will, so might as well do it now.
Ashen one.
Does
Beef.
Grey Red have anything for me? He asks coyly.
Heavens, she was already dead.
Yes, she was. It was not a surprise.
Heavens.
Thank you for the gesture. Yeah, he's useless for one more going back and forth. Character development.
Ah, there you are.
Right. Yeah, give me shit. Thank you. More options. That is nice to get this very easy, very early in the game. You can now reinforce it like a normal weapon. We're not gonna do that, I don't think, because there is nothing really I want from pyromancy. Maybe stuff like flash sweat, but whatever, man. I can use that with a non-upgraded pyromancy flame. For all the other pyromancies, you actually need both casting stats, so it's always like you can play, for example, a dark sorcerer, and you can also use pyromancy at the same time, because why not? So I don't quite get it. I mean, in Dark Souls 2 you had dark sorcery, which required hexes, which required both casting stats and scaled with them, and yet pyromancy, which did not require both casting stats but still scaled with them. So you could decide if you pump the stats to have actually good pyromancies, or if you just had a fireball to set things on fire and to have some ranged option, which is okay but not great. In this case, you kind of can do the same, because every class I think has 6 and 6 in Faith and Int, but then why have the requirements at all? I don't quite understand it, but that's just what they decided to have here. But it's not the only weird balancing, I guess, issue, because I mean, we also have stuff like the 3-5-7, I think, progression for Titanite shards, which you need to upgrade. It's 8 in Bloodborne, I don't know if it's 7 here. And sometimes it just rubs me the wrong way, because it seems like a significant step back from the beautifully and streamlined systems in Dark Souls 2, but I could talk about this for hours, so let's not. What are we going to do next? I think we are ready to just say hello to our weapon, because I really want Ward's hammer to use it, and might as well get it now, because I can. I have all the tools necessary for it. And then using it, we can explore a little further here, do the final parts, mop up a bit, whet people's appetite for the next stream, and then stop, because it's not getting particularly late, but I'm getting a little tired of talking all the time. Oh my god, I didn't think I would ever say that. So yeah, the rat is down there, and you can just skip it like this. And that is just so nice of them. Hi guys! And now you see why I think the dog is placed weirdly. Because now it is suddenly somewhere else and I don't quite get it. It's part of their troop. And sometimes it's here and waiting for me. Sometimes it's like when I come from the other side, it's already standing here. And it's like it's always going off from the group for some reason, then it stands here and waits. Like I don't know what's going on with these enemies. They had a grand plan of having these guys walk slowly here, and you probably want to avoid them because they're dangerous. But when do you ever get them? Like when do we ever run into them? And when are they ever a problem? It's so weird to me. Like, what did they intend them to do? I have been trying to figure this out ever since I first played this part. Because I genuinely have a desire to know what the game designer wanted, to engage with their game, especially if it's a good game, of course, in a way that makes me feel like I figured it out, like this is some kind of non-linear game we're playing. They place down some obstacle and say like, okay, we've given you these and this tool to deal with it, and if you use any other tool, then you're probably stupid even though it works, because this is not what I intended. And in this case, I don't... Where the fuck is the evangelist? What's going on? I've never had them be so diverse in their movement. I think the evangelist, sometimes it falls down here. It feels weird. It feels unfinished, and I don't get it. It's so strange to me. Like, this guy here, I think, is he damaged? I think he's also from there. There is the evangelist. Like, what is up with their pathfinding? Why does this keep happening to them? It's so strange. I don't get it. I'm glad that I caught it on stream. I mean, people are like, oh, well, why do you not like Dark Souls 3 that much? It's just like sometimes weird shit happens and I don't know why. And it speaks to me like this is a game that reaches just 90% of its potential, which is a crying shame, because at 100% it would be fucking amazing and it would be the best Souls game, but it falls short just that tiny amount. It has better level design than Dark Souls 2, for sure. It also, sometimes this level design is a tiny bit janky. That should be pointed out. Anyway, let's do this. This is the most obvious boss arena I've ever seen in my life. When I first was here, I was like, yeah, come on, buddy. I'm not going there until I've unlocked all of the shortcuts, and I'm super fucking sure that I really want to fight the boss here. And, I mean, yeah, of course it's a boss arena. The only question is, what is the boss? Are these guys the boss? Is it a mob boss? Dislike how quickly this guy can decide to attack you. Because he's always like, oh, I'm so scared, I'm so scared. Suddenly he attacks me. Suddenly he attacks me. It's kind of weird. Oh. What is the boss? Oh my god, this is the boss. And now all of the enemies have activated. Oh, including another harp guy. Man, I'm just telling all the wrong things today, aren't I? And this is your first clue that you probably don't want to bother with the enemies. The first time I was playing this boss, I was, of course, everybody does that, I think. Is running around and is like, oh my god, there are so many enemies here, and I should take out all the enemies and kill them before I deal with the boss, because this is usually what you do. You kill the ads and then you kill the boss. But I mean, this went really smoothly, but there is more of them. He's going to summon more of them. They're falling down from his limbs. And you really shouldn't bother with them, because he's just going to take them out for you. They don't do much damage, so you can focus on him. So what you usually do with Dark Souls bosses, you know, you get behind them, and you hit your ass, and then you realize that nothing happens. And then he does this, and he really doesn't want you to hit your ass, because spoilers, this is going to damage you. So what do? Can lock on, but it's just like, you know, somewhere. Is this a combo attack? I don't know. I usually don't know all that much of what the boss does, because you're always in his grumble by design. But if you are, then you realize that something happens. This is very obviously doing something, even though it's not doing much damage. And that means that it should be followed. Just didn't hurt that much, so I didn't learn any lessons. Just continue hitting these. This is going to deal damage. Maybe now I can take out some of these guys. But again, it's not really super useful. Because of this. I mean, I could have tried to take them out, but why bother? He's going to do it for me. Not a big point. So, finally, this is what you want to happen. And now we have a lot of damage at once. And now I see more of these things, so overhead swinging them again. Nice! Very good, but also this happens. I love this. It should go without saying. I think I've made my feelings clear by now, but just the tone of my voice. I really like this boss. I think it's great. Oh, fucking grab attacks, man! I didn't even see that coming in the slightest. It's a little janky, admittedly. Sometimes you don't see what's going on. He's flailing around a bit, and this final phase it can take a while until you get a good hit on that weak point, which is his hand now, because it keeps going away from you. But overall, this kind of gimmick fight, Dark Souls has some terrible gimmick fights. I mean, the series, not just Dark Souls 1, but this one is not one of them, I think. I think it's great. I think it's fun. And it's doing a lot of things which I like. Is it trying to grab me? Yeah, it's just sometimes a little hard to read. But then you pop his sets, make him scream, have a good time. Is there another one here? The last part is always the hardest because I always keep failing to find more sets. And if you don't have a weapon that hits overhead, then you're gonna have a real bad time to take out some of these. If you have ranged opportunities, then it's really easy. Oh my. Come on. Finally. There we go. There are some more opportunities to hit him when he does some falling over or jumping attacks. Ideally, if this were a let's play, I would play around with him more to show them off, but I just wanted to kill him now. And get the one very important thing, the transposing kiln, which will allow me to make boss weapons. Hooray! Also, we've been here before. This is where Hodrick was giving us the Covenant item. And well, look at him now. He's fucking dead. He didn't even have the courtesy to drop his armor set or the Covenant. Even if I don't have the Covenant yet, he will not drop it. And this means that I cannot get the Covenant, the normal, this first way, the one I showed off, if I do this boss. And you do this boss immediately after the opportunity arrives to get the Covenant, so it's very easy to screw yourself out of getting it. And I don't get it why they did this. It's so strange. Like, it's funny that the tree fell on his head and that he has this cave of collected bones from his mad desire, his weird idea of staving off the undead curse madness by making himself some bone friends. It's great, but the side quest itself is bogus. It's garbage. Absolutely terrible. Anyway, you remember how we had to take a Homeward Bone out last time? Well, now they give us a Bonfire. They give us a Bonfire after every boss, so it makes sense. But why didn't we have one before? They could have just deactivated it during the boss fight. Like, again, I don't quite get it. Whatever. Let's get our smashy hammer. After that, vitality, no, vigor to 20, and then strength up to 30. That's the next project. See that we don't level too much, but we'll see. For now, we do have 15 vitality, which should be fine. Strength-wise, maybe we'll have to change our armor set up a bit. Oh my god, fashion souls. Dare you believe it? And I think it took me far too long until I was reading these things here, like so, reading engraving and such, until I realized, here, talk, that there is a guy sitting here. I think most people have the problem of finding him. I mean, maybe you could extrapolate, shut the fuck up for a moment, thanks, that in the intro you have this throne, and this throne, and this throne, and this throne's owner mentioned, like 4 big Lord Souls you're going to get during the course of the game, but nobody talks about Ludleth, so this might make you suspicious, maybe, but it's a little weird. I think I found him a while after getting the transposing kiln and just really looking around. And then we get Wart's Great Hammer for it. I also could get one of two items which are both a little more dexterity based from the soul of the boss we just killed. I'm not going to use any of them. One of them is apparently great. One of them is hyper garbage. It always seems like it could be good, but it's not. And this is what we're going to use for quite a while, until maybe I get bored and use another big smashy weapon, because this is what we're going to do in this playthrough, because smashy weapons are great in general. I really like them, and in Dark Souls 3 they are one of the best ways to play the game, because they give you the most coveted poise. Now, this leaves me with fat roll, as I suspected, so we do have to change our equipment a bit. 82%. So, let's see here. Will I ever use the shield? No. That gives me a bunch of extra help, that is nice. Of course I have to wear this for just a bit. I mean, it also has like a collar. This might also help me stay warm with this frosty club. Oh, yeah, okay. So, fast roll again. This is us for now. Good. Oh yeah, one more thing. Spend the souls, of course.
Welcome. Then take.
Level 22. Let's see, 3 more here. Won't reach the strength. That's fine. That is fine. I want to shoot for 20 vigor just for my personal enjoyment. And I want to stay at level 25 for now, I think, until we get the Wolf Covenant, because I might just do some PvP with this one, because apparently it's super on walk to do it, because it's kind of overpowered at low levels. Makes sense to me, but I don't care too much if this is like super cookie cutter. I've never used it before. I'm not a super PvP god or anything. I just want to get some wolf grass, because why not? Sometimes it's fun. Can I upgrade it actually? Well, of course I can, because I got that single Titanite scale of the lizard at the start. So now we're cooking with fire, my friends. Now we're cooking with fire. Or rather cold. Making some ice cream. And I'm gonna cream a few more enemies with this, just to finish up the Undead Settlement, because I promised to talk about it in depth, and this is why this is taking 2 hours. What do we have left? Of course, the giant. The giant. We have to deal with this guy. This we have explored, and then everything that comes after the giant. Okay. And of course the guys who were so nice to give me soup. So we're going to have the boss run again, because sadly we cannot just walk back from the boss arena. It would be too convenient after all. Yeah, I mean, I know some people dislike the Undead Settlement. I've always liked it in general, because you can explore a lot. Looking at it analytically, like I'm doing right now, that's kind of a mess. Maybe just a tiny bit. It's still fun. That was a lot of fun what I did just now. I'm winding down now, just going with the hammer for a spin a bit. But I would never call the Undead Settlement bad or anything. I just think that people are harping on it a little because they've played the game even more than I did. And at some point it might get old. I'm well aware of that. And if you want to explore every nook and cranny, then yeah, you kind of have to double back quite a bit. Unless you have a super good plan in mind, which I apparently don't. So yeah, this time the evangelist didn't fall down, I see. The dog always goes in this direction, and this guy keeps getting stuck here. Last time he fell down. Let's see if he does again. Wow, that was some terrible aim on everybody's part. And a lot of damage. This is how it's supposed to go, I think. Where's the other dog? Maybe that dog fell down. Man. Nothing works here. First this guy. This is classic. If there are some enemies here, you can just get one of them to notice you, let them come, then take them out quickly. This is maybe a bit overkill. And then get another one to come. Maybe just one of them. This would be nice. No? Okay. Also okay. Is he going to fall down? Ah, he isn't. Very good. So, let's see if I can do this now that I've got an actual really fucking cool weapon. He's doing it again. Such a weird guy this is. Wow. Wow! Yeah, I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. And the boom. And the bang. The death. And I think I triggered Frostbite, that chirping sound effect, which is unique to not unique to this weapon, but it's one of the few weapons that does Frostbite. And it's amazing. Apparently it has been buffed a lot ever since I did my last big playthroughs of Dark Souls 3. Also the frequency in which it procs is apparently really great, because I procced it on the second hit, which is crazy. I've never had this happen before. I thought it was completely and utterly useless before, and probably it was, but well, now it isn't anymore. So this guy here is really weird, because you see, I can tell you right now, you will be able to get down there. Of course, there is stuff down there, and you get there through the locked door. But you can't open the door right now. You can't get the key for it. If you go through it, though, and then you follow this crystal lizard, it will lead you back here. Then this guy falls on your head. Maybe. That is like the surprise that is there. But you cannot go there without seeing him at some point. And then it's not really a surprise anymore, is it? I mean, then finally it answers the question what this guy is doing here, gazing wistful into the distance. It's super weird. I don't get it. I don't get it. Please, please, From, explain these things to me. What is the thought process behind it? Maybe this is why Dark Souls 3 sometimes rubs you the wrong way. There are so many things I just don't get, and I want to get them. Hi, dogs. I'm going to use Perseverance here. I didn't know it actually also knocked enemies away like this. Amazing. Thing is, you see, poise only works in this game when you hit like this during the latter part of your swing. You cannot get hit out of your swing, which is okay, but it only works with the big smashy weapons. I think alluring skulls are code for haha, you fucking idiot, you walked into this trap because you were allured. And this is like, this is a hidden item, it's not a trap, man. I could see the dogs from up there. It's not a trap. Come on. Anyway, the poise only gets activated when you are in the latter part of the swing, but there are some ways to activate the poise manually, basically, and this way is by the Perseverance weapon art. In this case, this is it. Boom. And now I have poise as long as that glow is here. As long as that glow is here, and as long as I have somewhat decent armor, which does have a poise stat, then enemies can't hit me out of my attack animations until they depleted my poise health. That's how it works. It's a little convoluted. You can also get this with an offhand Zestus. You just two-hand that quick, activate the weapon art, which I briefly did once before in this stream, and then you have poise for a moment. This is why it's so good in PvP, and because you can parry with it.
Another one of those unkindled, are you?
What, is it written on my face somewhere?
All you faceless undead, behaving as
yeah,
if
it is
you
apparently
deserve
written on my face.
respect.
I should kick you
No
down there
matter.
and take your hammer, but I don't have the 30
Heed
faith.
my
This is
words.
the only
you've
reason
any
why you are
sense,
allowed to live. Yeah,
you
shut the
think you
fuck
can-
up, man. I don't care. So, big door. Big life. And a cameo appearance. You know, this is something which a lot of people think have some kind of stomach ache about, because it's such a blatant reference. It's like, this guy is just like Siegmeyer, only he's called Siegward, and he wears the same armor, and he behaves the same way, and are they just lazy with their references and stuff? I don't mind. I don't care. It's fine that he exists. I was a little pleasantly surprised actually the first time. I was like, there is the Onion Knight again. That's fine. I'm gonna have a true friend here. Maybe they're going to do a twist with him and he's not actually a friend. Well, they don't. So in that way, maybe it is lazy. Maybe they just keep things the same all the time. Hi, Alex. Pleased to meet you. But it's not something I tend to think about. I always think it's a little weird when people are like, this reference now too blatant for me it's to handle, or would I prefer it to be more subtle in a way? And I don't know what people want really, especially Souls fans. It tends to be really weird. I'm level 25 right now, or 24 I think, and and I might stay that way. You probably won't be able to stream snipe if that is your question, because I'm in offline mode, because my computer can't handle the frame rate. This guy I don't like. I don't think anybody in the entire world likes him, because he's a twitchy motherfucker whose movements make absolutely no sense. He's incredibly hard to stun out of his attacks. He has frostbite, yes, like Ward, but he can apply it far more quickly. He's doing all of these jump things, and it's just, what the fuck do you do against this guy? My answer is a big club. I'm not playing on PS4, that is PC. And with a big club, everything is really easy. With a fast weapon, this guy is a pain in the dick. I don't like him. But this is why I wanted to play with the club. I always know how to handle things with a club. You hit them until they're dead. And this is how I like it. Maybe there is only one particular reason for me to come here, and this is to tag this bonfire. Because we are not going to explore the road of sacrifices. I'm actually winding down right now, Alex. Sad to say, I'm just going to do a few more side quests, probably 10 more minutes or so, and then I'm done. This is like an apology. Sometimes, going back to Dark Souls 1, you get these things, like you get extra lives after a hard section in Mario, where it's like, yeah, we know that this probably killed you a few times, so here is something to maybe recoup your losses a bit, and I'm like, yeah, this is some fucking bullshit, thank you very much, I've noticed. Again, it's always like, this is some kind of contract between me and the designer, where they are posing some puzzles here, and then non-linearly, like years after the games come out, I am basically trying to figure out what they wanted, what they planted this for, and sometimes I feel like it's kind of a dialogue between me and them, and I think we have some kind of understanding sometimes, and sometimes it's kind of a love-hate relationship, because this is Dark Souls after all. I must admit, this wasn't immediately obvious to me. They got me good with this. They do it later on too, and I don't know if this has precedence somewhere, but it certainly didn't for me. Just like this double elevator. It's a good puzzle. I like it, because it stumped me at first, because I can be a fucking idiot, even though I really shouldn't be, due to all of the things I studied and stuff. What was that? But that was just, I didn't get it at first. I just didn't get it, and took me a bit, but eventually I figured it out, mostly by coming back here from the other side at some point. But when I did it, I felt really smart, even though I didn't earn it at all, and that was great. Thank you, Dark Souls, for making me feel smart. Hi.
Who are you?
It's me, a friend.
I help anytime.
Thanks. Great. So, that's very nice of him to help anytime, and now we are safe from the arrows. I like this mini side questy thing here. It's nice, because if you explore in this direction, then that just switches off the annoying part with the arrows, and you can finally explore. And it's like, if you were forced to explore under a constant arrow hail, it's down there I think, then this would be really annoying. But nobody forces you to do that, and because you can turn it off, and then you can go back and explore at your leisure, and this is exactly what we're going to do now. This is also why I'm going to use my Homeward Bones and warp directly there, because as I said, we're not going to take the Road of Sacrifices today, and we're also not going to take the extra part with Seek Ward just now, because I'm getting tired. Basically the entire reason, but I still want to finish exploring the final part of the main part of the Undead Settlement, so that we can finish talking about this. Wow, that was long. I mean, maybe at some point I will get some comments afterwards by people watching this, or I mean, if you want to, you can comment right now if you think this was too long-winded in general. If I could have shortened and abbreviated things a bit, and I'm certainly going to rewatch the video too, to draw my own conclusions, where I was rambling too much, where I was pointing things out correctly or maybe even incorrectly, and where in the future I could straighten things up some more. For maybe, as I said at the very start, an eventual Dark Souls 1 Let's Play, where I'm going to do this kind of in-depth look all over again. It should be a little easier, because Dark Souls 1 is within its areas more linear and has less giant branching side parts where you really do not know where the fuck you can go next to explore it in an efficient manner. Yeah, throw a tantrum somewhere else. Tantrum. Just invented a word. And yeah, we will see about that. For now though, let's get some friends to help us anytime. Thanks, friend! I usually think fading souls are kind of a haha, you actually bothered to look at this item. Sometimes it's just like to show that a lot of people died here and it really affected them badly. Like they lost a lot of their souls and now they're just faded. But sometimes it's just kind of laughing at the player, I think, which is fine. Fine tradition of trolling in Dark Souls is to be recommended. And in this case, I'm not super sure which of the two it is. Maybe it's both. Ah, the Reinforced Club. I think this is complete and utter garbage in Dark Souls 3, whereas it's one of the best weapons in Dark Souls 1, especially for a low level run. But that's just how times change, I guess. This here is always a little weird. I got this the first time after dying once, and then I rushed it because I thought it must be something good, and as I had already died and lost my souls, like whatever, I can risk that kind of risky jump. And it was actually true. The Undead Bone Shard is one of the best rewards that exist in the game, so that was kind of nice. Let's get back up here, because there is one more thing we can get here. You wanna come up, by the way? See, if you have the time to very carefully look here, you can block carefully. Are there enemies around? Maybe. Is this guy going to wake up? Probably. Can I start it off early? Where's the other one? Maybe this guy walked actually up. So if he walks out, then it's less of a challenge. Anyway, here you saw my attack just easily go through. I didn't get stun locked out of it. I got through with it, hit that guy. This is how it should be always. I know there are legitimate reasons for poise not being as strong, but I don't like it, and I think if I swing I should connect. It's just a fun thing in general. It's just like, it's fine to stack the deck in favor of the player a bit. It's not forbidden. The Mortician's Ashes are also quite a worthwhile reward. And the Cleric set, of course, it's Fashion Souls. Fuck boy. Ah, there is the second Flamberge one. Again, I was wrong. I knew that it's probably not the only one. As I said before, there's always another enemy you forget. But this is not the best place to farm him if you want him. Well, in the other place it's also hard to farm him, so I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Anyway, there are very substantial rewards up here. You can rush them. They're in the graveyard area, like in Dark Souls 1, like with skeletons in the graveyard. There might be some kind of connection there. I don't know if that is supposed to be a somewhat deliberate reference or not. Anyway, when I first saw this, I did exactly that. I thought, okay, there is this guy shooting at me, but I can probably get these items. I have already died before, my souls are gone, it doesn't matter. And I got some nice rewards for it, and so I guess this is halfway intended. I just thought it would be better to come back here now where it's stress-free, because I prefer my things to be stress-free. And this is also why I took this giant fucking club, which I know will coast me through the game very easily because I know how to handle my clubs, and it's actually a really good club. And we won't have any problems like this now, will we? Final bit of cleaning up. I think I will pop 1 or 2 souls to buy some stuff and get me 1 more level to get to actual 25 and 20 vigor, which we're going to stop at for the moment. Maybe 30 is also fine for watchdogs, I don't know, but I can't get to 30 strength to one-hand the hammer anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. I should have spent less in vitality, I guess, but I like how things are at the moment. Let's just use all of them. I always forget using souls, and in the end I have a gigantic pile of super low souls around, which I always regret not using before. So let's just do this and then buy some other stuff. Like for example this key here, which is for the Undead Settlement sewer. Where have you seen a door which is locked before? So you can actually get the ashes first, I guess, and then unlock the door immediately, and then the guy falling on top of you is a surprise. But if you defuse the giant shooting arrows at you, then this cannot happen. So you definitely have to make a suicide run for the ashes, then immediately buy the key, then immediately unlock the door, and then he's going to be a surprise. I guess that is true. You can also now buy 3 human pine resins, which I don't know why you would do that, why they are limited. I don't get it. It's weird. Okay. Anything else new? I don't think so. But I've never paid too much attention to the inventory here because maybe the bundles or whatever, but I don't like consumable buffs. I've never really used them. Maybe once or twice in Dark Souls 1, but
Ah, you know I'm a
yeah,
well.
you are a pity.
Everyone
Go on
might
the
as
troll.
well.
Yeah, it's
Well,
a perfect idea. You should
thank
do that.
you. Until
Grey Rat is the best. I like him. He's so helpful. Still doesn't have anything I need. Yeah. I'm gonna spend the levels on a soul.
Goodbye.
The souls on a level, other way around. And that's going to be it for today.
Welcome. Very
Heart's
well
desire
then.
is, of course, more strength. Form of survivability.
Farewell, Ashen.
Alright. I know I will not be able to show off much PvP if at all on stream, but maybe I will do that off screen for my own personal amusement at some point. Anyway, it was fun. It hopefully was a learning experience for me, which I will profit from in some undefined point in the future. I got what I wanted out of the deal. We killed a boss who didn't die too often. I had at least 2 views all the time, which is more than 0, so thank you very much for watching. Again, I had a lot of fun, and we will see this continue, I think. Thank you for your attention. Bye!